r/ask Reddit. What strange thing did you find out about someone else that they thought was perfectly normal? There was this guy I went to college with. When he was in the shower, if the urge hit him, he would just take a shit in the shower instead of getting out to use the toilet. He did this the whole time he was a kid apparently, and it wasn't till he got to college and had to share bathroom facilities that he found out other people showering in adjacent stalls weren't cool with smelling shit as he waffle stomped to log down the drain. What the duck? Seriously, I was showering with my son when he was a toddler and he asked if it was okay to pee while in the shower. I told him that it was sometimes okay if he really had to go but that it was never okay to poop in the shower. He said, that would be yucky. A few weeks prior he licked the door of a public restroom stall while waiting for me to finish. He even had a higher standard than taking a shit in the bathroom tub. What the duck is wrong with this guy? Edit. Forgot a word. I was talking to my husband on the phone and he told me to hang on. He had to put his clothes back on. He was at work. I asked what the hell he was doing and apparently he always takes all his clothes off to take a dump. Even at work. I knew he did it at home but he always would then get in the shower after, so I figured it was just a preface to showering. He said he balances them over the stall door so they don't get poop particles on them. I told him no one else does this. He didn't notice because in the men's room he's used for the last 10 years there's only one stall. I'm not sure why no colleague ever asked him why he's hanging clothes over the stall door. I know so many people who do this. Why? How insanely messy is your everyday poop that you have to get completely naked? Edit. My most upvoted comment is about poop. Nice. This apparently is a rather common thing. I know multiple men who do this and it baffles my mind. Verp. Verp is a word, like vomit plus burp? I have honestly never heard that before and it's making me laugh. It's funny BC, when I read it I knew exactly what that word meant and it was literally the first time I've ever heard it, haha. My friend genuinely believed that leprechaun was just a term for indigenous Irish little people. He's been drinking paint again, hasn't he? His hobbies include magnets. My friend didn't know martinis weren't normally served in giant water-sized glasses and thought she was getting ripped off when she ordered one at a bar. Her parents were alcoholics. Water-sized, thinking face. I couldn't think of how to describe it. Like 16 ounces tumblers. 28-year-old at work. Takes a dump with the seat up. Ass directly on the porcelain. The hell does he think the seat is for? So the lid doesn't get lonely? For girls done. My ex and her entire family share a toothbrush. She argued it like they were all sharing a hairbrush. Glad that ended. Oh gross. Dude, I caught an old roommate using my toothbrush once. I was all, what the duck dude, comma, and he was baffled as to why I was disgusted. Apparently he'd been doing it for a while. I had one college roommate who put on a clean pair of underwear every time she used the bathroom. Edit. For those of you wanting more details, she had Asperger's. She only went twice a day, and never in public restrooms. She couldn't stand to wear any pads or liners. She didn't leak or anything, but otherwise had terrible hygiene. We were at college in Bumberduck Nowhere, USA, where probably 99% of the student body had never seen nor heard of a bidet. Strange, but not poop in the shower. Strange nasty. Did she just have a ton of underwear or did she wash them all every day? Either way this seems so inefficient. A friend told me about a roommate who keeps a large bin full of bread under her bed. Every week, she buys a new loaf and adds it to the bin. She doesn't actually eat that much bread, but has a huge bin full. This reminds me of a conversation I had with a friend recently about sleep paralysis, general sleep problems. I asked how, you know that feeling when you wake up with tears running down your face and realize you had been crying in your sleep? He replied, no. Are you okay? Your friend's roommate might have been either starved as a child or grew up really poor. Hiding food like that is usually an indicator. It basically serves as a psychological comfort thing. She won't go hungry because she always has the bread, so she keeps it there just in case. This is the answer. I worked with foster youth who have experienced severe poverty and food instability. This behavior is extremely common, even years after they get out of that situation. I have a friend who has lost an immense amount of weight, yet eats and drinks like crap all the time. It had been revealed to me by him that he often feels so full sometimes that he just makes himself puke to feel better. This has been going on for quite a few years now. He's straight up bulimic and thinks it's just a neat little way to get rid of all the bad foods and drinks he gorges himself with. He's gotten so good at making himself puke. It's almost silent. No gagging sounds, no messy puke splatter. Just a stream of chewed up food and beers. I'm quite sure that even his wife is oblivious to this. That's horrible to hear. You should really consider trying to get your friend to see a therapist who specializes in eating disorders. Not to mention a regular doctor. Stomach acid is so bad on your esophagus. One time my best friend and I were on a voice chat as it was getting pretty late. At one point he said that he should probably head to bed because he was starting to see gory and otherwise disturbing things. Apparently he has hypnagogic hallucinations every so often and just assumed that it was normal when to see stuff when you get tired at it. This seems to be a lot more common than I thought. Don't be too worried if you have this. It doesn't really seem like a big deal. Sorry for the scare. Also, some of you people need to sleep more often, eh? That happens to me. Some people just have a lower threshold for sleep deprivation and get the hallucination sooner than others. Thankfully all I see is shadow people and I'm good at ignoring them. That's so horrifying though. Guy had 3 nuts. Thought he just had an extra testicle. We told him it was probably a tumor. It was. That almost made my dong hurt. So whoever told him it was probably a tumor, how did they find out about his 3rd nut? Edit. This is one of my most liked comments, if not my top one ever. Thanks guys. He was bragging about it and showing everyone in a rec league hockey locker room. My friend last night was like, you know when you think you're starting to get sick and you're super tired, your nose is runny, and your throat is phlegmy, and we're all like yeah, and she says and then your hands go completely numb, and we're all like nope, that's definitely just you. My neighbors ate their cornflakes with orange juice instead of milk. Their parents had conditioned them all to think this was normal and acceptable behavior. I'm calling Child Protective Services right now. Their parents are sadists. They carried a pizza box sideways under their arm. Whoa, I'm so glad it made other people as uneasy as it made me. It was a neighbor at a neighborhood pizza party that was kinda strange already. Every time someone talks about him I'm like, I knew he was strange since the pizza box incident. Pizza shop employee here. People do this with some regularity and it is never not disturbing. So far this one makes me the most angry. My roommate in college thought you washed clothes on every single cycle on the washing machine. Our machine had a delicate cycle, a cotton cycle, a solo rinse cycle, a permanent press cycle, etc. He always complained about the washer taking forever. It's because he was washing his clothes 4-5 times every time he did laundry. Good lord, water bills for days. At least they'd be super clean. When my friend makes mac and cheese she puts the cheese powder, milk, and butter into the boiling water. Edit. Added commas. The instructions are on the box. Apply directly to the forehead. Okay, so my old roommate did a lot of drugs and drank a lot. One time I had a friend over and we were gonna smoke from my roommate's bong, and when my friend took a hit he threw up due to an extremely unpleasant taste and smell. We poured out the bong water and my roommate said he had never changed it out and the water was very dark. I wanna say it was almost black, but it was at least just very dark. My roommate then said that looks like pee. We all looked at him in disbelief and asked if that's what his pee looked like, and he looked very concerned when we pressed him on it and when we said that that's not how pee should look. I also would like to add that we did tell him that he should go and see a doctor about that, to which he replied why yeah and then changed the subject. Edit. Some clarification and added last paragraph. This is like multiple layers of duct. Imagine thinking pee is black instead of red. A guy I know finishes wiping his ass with a Q-tip. He gets it as clean as possible with TP and then uses a Q-tip to go up a little further and get the last little bits of poop. Edit. Well damn. I didn't think this comment would get this kind of attention. Thanks for the gold and silver though. Now I challenge someone to make a sign for ESPN's College Game Day that says, rival coach finishes wiping with a Q-tip. And this is when I stop reading. This guy is living in 4018. I know someone at work that eats oranges with the peel on. I'm pretty sure he is a psychopath. There was a chick in my math class in university who would always come to class, peel a lemon, then proceed to eat it like nothing. I had a friend whose parents would buy a gallon of whole milk and pour half the gallon in another jug, then mix water into both to dilute it. She always just thought that other people got a different brand of milk because drinking milk at a friend's house always tasted different. Her grandparents did it too. Really weirded me out when I saw her mom just pour milk into an empty jug and mixing water with it. I 100% guarantee you that their grandparents learned that in the Great Depression. My friend started talking about how he'd just sometimes randomly lactate like it was the most casual topic of conversation. Is he on antipsychotics? Those types of meds can make men lactate. Source: when I was working at a jail, a male inmate squirted titty juice at me. I found out later from one of the nurses his meds were the reason why. I'm a female and Depakote did this to me. It was so embarrassing because it was in the middle of fun time and my husband told me my nipple tasted weird. I told the doctor and she took me off of it. My friend has 2 older sisters and didn't realize that guys don't wrap the towel around their whole body until he came to college. Haha, I do the towel thing. Only because when I get off the shower I'm freezing and wrapping the towel around me keeps me warmer. I feel this. My towel rack is right above the vent for the bathroom and feels so good putting the towel on in the winter. My dad's parents never told him to brush his teeth and he told me that he used to eat a whole can of condensed milk every day as a kid. He still thinks it's perfectly normal. I don't know. And he just wondered why one day his teeth fell out. Only when he was in his 20s someone told him that brushing helps. How do his teeth look now? They need some milk edit. Hi ho silver I. One of my friends and I were talking about going home for the holidays. She mentioned how she hates going home because her dad always wants her to sleep in the same bed as him and her mom is completely fine with it. So, being me, I poked a little. She said, well, I mean, it was okay when I was a teenager, but I'm 23 now. It's just dumb, you know? I asked more on what it entailed. Her dad even showered with her up until she was 17. I tried to tell her how that's abuse and she just laughed it off. I grabbed her shoulders and was like, X, that's abuse. You should talk to someone. Her parents are divorced. They have been for quite some time. I haven't seen her in a while so I'm not sure how it turned out, but it still makes me shiver. Edit. Typo second edit. So I've been getting a lot of feedback asking how this is abuse, and I guess I didn't explain myself thoroughly. I figured I put enough in the post to give you the idea that something wrong was going on. My friend's father made constant advances on her, and when she tried to go to her mother for help, her mom just ignored her or made it seem like it was her daughter's fault. There was molestation involved. She would ask me, do your parents do inappropriate touching while you sleep? I had to hold myself together for her and explain how that's not something they shouldn't be doing. Her father would obsessively wash her, touch her inappropriately, from a young age up until she was almost legally an adult, and because her mother didn't do anything about it, she thought it was something normal. Also, the language she used to me, it makes me uncomfortable. I hate going. etc. led me to ask her more questions. When I mean grab by the shoulders, I meant that I stood in front of her, put my hands on her shoulders while talking. Her head was down and I was in the process of comforting her before I hugged her. It is something I learned culturally. I'm sorry if it looked like then I just grabbed her shoulders and spun her my way. You will face me. I hope this clears things up for those who have questions. Had a friend at college that was so sheltered she had no idea that not everyone's father shows love like that. He ended up going to prison. You're a good friend for telling her. My friend used to lift the tail and blow on dog's a-hole to play with the dog or something. I read somewhere that if you blow air on a cat's a-hole, it's a sign of affection. BC the mama cat will groom their buttholes when they're babies. I tried it once. Felt incredibly dirty, and my cat gave me the bro, we need a roommate agreement look. My cat shows me his butt a lot. Best response is to scratch his back, next to his tail. Sends the correct platonic message I find. My friend always thought jacking off was like messing around. When she was in middle school, a kid was commenting on how far along she was on an art project. In response, he said, maybe you'd be this far if you weren't jacking off all the time, in front of the whole class. And yet, She still only learned that wasn't what it meant her junior year in college. When she was in middle school, a kid was commenting on how far along she was on an art project. In response, she said, "Maybe you'd be this far if you weren't jacking off all the time." In front of the whole class. I bet it shut the little bastard up yo. I bet that kid still remembers her as a needlessly cruel monster. Guy at college never wipes his ass. He just exclusively shits once a day before showering and rinses everything there. That's, well, good for him. Nothing in my life is that organized. I'm sort of in awe of people who have any control over when they shit. My only choice is whether I find a toilet or shit my pants. Edit. The sheer number of people throwing medical diagnosis at me or assuming that I never eat vegetables because I don't shit at the same time every day is truly staggering here. Calm down, people. Had a roommate who didn't know you needed to wash potatoes. She made some potato dish and it was gritty. One of my friends genuinely cannot taste basil. He always thought that basil was some tasteless leaf that people like to put on pizza. He once ate a bowl of basil leaves like a salad. My friend thought he was uncircumcised. Okay, he and my other friend hook up and she calls me after in tears from laughing. Apparently he thought that since his penis had the head attached, he was uncircumcised. So, instead of actually looking up a rigorous definition of circumcision, he just judged it at a glance. A family member thought that hallucinations were something everyone dealt with. They thought that monsters under the bed and other cultural tales of ghosts were real things, which were further confirmed by their experience. This led to later diagnosis of schizophrenia once they couldn't cope well enough to deal with the symptoms and it became evident to family members. I had a college roommate who had 2 hampers, one for shirts and pants, and another for socks and underwear. If one wrong article made it into either hamper, the entire hamper was then considered contaminated and he would throw the entire thing away. He'd put on cleaning gloves, pick up the hamper, and take it down to the dumpster and in it went, clothes and all. We explained this wasn't normal but he was convinced we were the ones who were abnormal. Remember that interview with the Roy Moore spokesperson where it looks like his brain shuts off for 10 seconds? That was basically his reaction when we pointed out his underwear touch his clothes while on his body. It was bizarre. Was he generally a weird person? Or was this the only thing that was off about him? Very strange person. He was homeschooled on a farm by his mail-order bride of a mom who barely knew English. He also scrubbed the shower and toilet before every use. Had no eating manners whatsoever. Loud slurping, chewing with mouth open, etc. Would frequently yell at people for no reason. And he thought girls were, and I quote, icky. Oh, and he loved to warm up KFC in the microwave and then keep the bones in a drawer in his desk. He was somehow both super clean and utterly disgusting at the same time. My friend thought that everyone was regularly taking worming tablets to stop getting worms. It wasn't until she got married and told her husband she was going to go pick up their worming tablets that she found out it wasn't normal. Depends where in the world you live, and how sanitary your surroundings are, I guess. My family has always had pets and we live in Africa. So my mom would buy dewormers twice a year, and deworm the pets at the same time. If I travel to any tropical countries I usually deworm on my return as I eat street food. Unfastened seatbelt jets out of car, fastened seatbelt behind them left does whatever appends door, unfastened seatbelt jets in seat, fastened seatbelt edit. Forgotten asterisk edit to https://www.reddit.com/askreddit comments of 4Ls. What strange thing did you find out about someone AB5K2? UTM source equals Reddit Android. It's actually a good idea to refasten a seatbelt when you're not in it during hot days so it doesn't get a million degrees from chilling in sunlight. Mind blown. I live in a hot environment and have been branded many times. Why I didn't think of this, I don't know. My friend genuinely believed that Native Americans are actually Indians immigrated from India. Is your friend Christopher Columbus? Edit. Holy shit. This seemingly banal comment exploded. Thanks for the magic points, guys. Until my early 20s, I thought lucid dreams were the norm. I cringe thinking of all the times I heard someone describe a bad dream and I said something along the lines of, why didn't you just change the dream? Growing up, I said this to several close family members, and not one told me that was weird. I thought that until high school too. When I told my high school friends I knew I was dreaming when I dreamt. They acted like that was impossible and I was confused. I lived with a girl that would eat baby powder that she had stashed in the drawer of the bathroom. She would walk by the bathroom and do quick shakes of the bottle right in her mouth. She would also buy whole frozen fish from Walmart and take them out of the freezer bag and slap them hard against the brick kitchen floor before cooking them in a stew. That's a witch. I read a post on here about this guy who was super sheltered growing up and was potty trained to get naked and sit on the toilet backwards. He always thought it was normal until he was in his late teens and was using a public washroom for the first time when a guy in the stall next to him noticed his feet her backwards and asked what the hell he was doing. I can't get that one out of my head, lol. I read that one as well. His parents did it so he could read and make sure he finished his business before going to bed. I think his parents were horrified that he was still doing it as an adult. I had a friend with an extra tight foreskin. He couldn't expose his head and when girls tried to pull it back he thought it was because they weren't used to uncircumcised dongs. That's a medical condition called phimosis. This whole thread is cursed. I'm getting upset. A coworker, mid-20s, Midwest born and raised, sat down with spaghetti one day for lunch. After twiddling the noodles around with the fork for a while, he looked at me and asked, "How do you eat this?" Thinking it was a joke, I laughed at him and kept eating. He looked at me with a straight face and said, "I've never had spaghetti. Life is amazing." Edit. Our job had a cafeteria with different options. This coworker normally got the same thing every day, burger and fries, and I didn't think anything of it. My grandma fed me hot dog water in the form of hot cocoa with the recycled boiled hot dog water. She thought it was okay to do and just told me years later. Edit. How you tell one traumatic event and get a top comment. Maybe next time I'll tell you about when the same grandma gave everyone at Thanksgiving food poisoning. Or the time she made me eat black and ash covered hot dogs. I'm starting to see a trend form. I still love hot dogs though. I ducking get gold for hot dog water, and 8,000 upvotes. Thank you all. I shall enjoy non-winer filled hot cocoa and enjoy the comments later. L with a cute. My ex-husband has reflux really bad. Once I saw him chewing something while we were out shopping and so I asked for a piece of what I thought was gum. But nope, it was food that we had eaten about an hour earlier. He told me his food would always come back up all the time and he would just re-chew it and swallow it back down. I was like, WTF. No. So, you married a cow. It's spelled M-O-O-O, not no. My friend puts lotion directly on her feet and then rubs her feet together. That's genius. Me. Don't you hate getting hit by those first few seconds of icy water when you turn on the shower? Roommate. What do you mean? M. Like in the morning when you're standing in the shower and you have to turn it on for the first time and it's really cold on your skin. Ah, wait. Do you turn the shower on after getting in? M. No, that was the day my mind was blown by the fact that you could turn the shower on before getting in. I was like 23 when I learned this, lol. Edit. Did I ever think that I would wake up one day and have hundreds of people calling me an idiot? No, not even in my wildest stressed dreams. Thanks, y'all. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.